Claus the black man. Santa Claus the black man and his handsome like my daddy too. Santa Claus the black man. Santa Claus the black man, and I found out that's why I'm telling you.
Alrighty guys, so today I really thought that this topic would be interesting. I am going to do this in more of a get ready with me style, so I will not be talking about any of the individual makeup that I will be applying, but I will make sure to have everything listed down below. And generally this is stuff that is either in the Shop My Stash that I just featured on my channel or in my project pan. So I will also try my best to have both of those videos down below in the event that you want to see kind of what other things are featured in my Shop My Stash that I don't necessarily talk about. But yeah, so I really thought it would be interesting to really just like think about how much voice generally the makeup industry within the makeup industry social media has. And you see that play, at least I've seen it play throughout my involvement with the makeup social media realm of things. So I started my blog I want to say around 2016, and previous to that I had been into makeup here and there, not really heavily, but I do know that around, I would say like 2014 to like 2015, the biggest form of social media when it came to the makeup industry was YouTube. And if you did not know, typically a lot of YouTubers have quite a bit of lighting going on just to really show either their complexion or their face in the best light, or to actually show it in the most accurate light, because sometimes cameras will just filter it in a really weird way. And it also takes into consideration, of course, if a YouTuber has a filter. Now that became a thing throughout the industry. Some people had filters on and they had to do this, they had to do that. It, you know, regardless though, typically every YouTuber has some decently heavy duty lights. I have 2 lights on the outside and 1 ring light on the inside to hopefully help really give you guys a fully lit version of myself. And I feel like I am pretty true to color on my lens. But regardless though, a lot of the time when it came to the height of YouTubers on YouTube, they realized that the lighter the coverage, the more your complexion, your imperfections are really going to show with all of this lighting. And so at the height of YouTube really being the form of social media that beauty YouTubers used, people went full coverage with everything. Full coverage foundation, full coverage with concealer, everything. And with that, and because of the lighting situation as well, you also realize that if you have something that even looks remotely shiny, like more skin tone or even dewy, these lights are going to reflect it and it's going to look sweaty or very oily or whatever have you on camera. So not only did YouTubers then gravitate towards full coverage, but they also then gravitated towards matte. So that's why you saw in, like, I would say the 2014 to all the way I would say to 2017, you really saw a lot of heavy coverage products. That's why the Huda Beauty foundation was such a raved about situation, and all of those other products that were really high coverage, right? So then I would say about 2016, 2017, people started using Instagram as another means of representation when it came to the beauty industry. And in doing so, Instagram, you can really see where somebody is from based on how they do their makeup on Instagram. And it became a thing where you like literally only did your makeup for Instagram. Once again, Instagram, you're really taking high resolution photos. You're taking photos really close up to the face, and you're also taking photos with really good lighting so that people can really see what's going on. So a lot of people, once again, decided to stick with the more thick, heavy cakey looking makeup, or even makeup that in the moment doesn't necessarily look cakey, but towards, 2-3 hours or even an hour, it starts to look really cakey and thick. But if you're only taking a photo, it doesn't matter the longevity or what it looks like in the long term. It only matters what it looks like in that one moment. And so once again, you're really getting a lot of people who are really focusing on the perfect photo, the perfect look in that moment. And so all of these high coverage products, all of these really, really big palettes really became a thing, right? Because in these really Instagram worthy photos, you saw makeup artists or just enthusiasts using a million different colors to make sure that their blend was superior, because the better the blend, the better the photo, and it just looks better overall. And you can continue to one time and time again see how the more predominant social media really reflects what these brands are pushing out. And so like I said, we began with YouTube, then we filtered over to Instagram, and then of course TikTok. So I would say honestly, if you are an influencer or whatever have you, and you just want to know what's going on, I find that a lot of people are using TikTok. And with TikTok, you see even less care on the longevity of a product in a lot of videos. Not all, but in a lot. In those videos, it's a short form social media. So all they care about is, will this look good in this 1 to 2 minute video? Yes, cool. No, then it's not going to work for me. And so once again, you're slowing down, you're reducing the amount of time that somebody has to show or prove that a product works. So you're really getting some of these thicker products that maybe don't work. And you're also getting an interesting form of influence there, right? So somebody only has to prove that a product looks good. Somebody only has to prove the application in a short period of time. So a lot of times you see these videos are heavily skipped over, where you see the person like blending a product in or whatever have you. And now I think because of TikTok being the heavier thing, you're seeing a lot more glitzy, shiny, bright, flashy products being released. You're seeing a lot of like, oh, this is a product that's shaped like Hip Dot, and all of their shaped characters that are like cheek products and eye products. Those are TikTok worthy, if you will, because that really grabs an audience very quickly, and that keeps the audience very interested for that minute or two. And you also see that and so many other forms when it comes to the fact that now it seems a lot of brands are actually coming out with highlighters. Highlighters had their moment on YouTube, right? And they had their moment on YouTube because people were showing the application, they were showing the blend, and you saw how like we went from those really thick, heavy highlighters, because a lot of people were into that heavy duty full coverage look, all the way to like a thinner, more not iridescent, but a translucent base that had just some coloring in it, so that it, one, reached a wider audience, but it also allowed you to have a different level of coverage for your base. Regardless, you could really get some use out of a highlighter that has like a more transparent base. Whereas with those thicker, opaque highlighters, you really couldn't, right? You really had to have a very heavy coverage base going on, and you also really needed to blend that out, make sure it works for your skin tone, all of that. And that was the evolution of highlighters just with YouTube. And now we're seeing that highlighters are really getting a boom again, because like I said, that's a really easy, like, ooh, look how bright it is in 2 minutes. And so I really just think it's really interesting how the makeup industry, and even the people who are watching the industry from afar, we have so much influence on what could happen and what does happen when it comes to the releases. I already talked about, I think like maybe a couple of weeks ago, about how we influence the brands that release a lot of products, and I really do stay true to that. But we also can influence the types of products that these brands are releasing. And our active usage of these social medias, in my opinion, really does continue to further a brand's ideology on like, okay, so people are really into YouTube. That's a longer form. We need to make sure that our products last really long. Or people are really in for the wow factor. They really love watching videos that have clickbaity titles or whatever have you. So these are the types of products that we need to make to get our products showcased by these influencers, or even just cared about by the people who are buying. And so yeah, I just find it really interesting, the evolution of things and like where it has gone. I know a lot of people, like I said, really look to TikTok for their like reviews and stuff. I personally don't. I still do very much focus my reviews and everything here, and that's where I look for them too. I don't really use TikTok in a makeup mindset, because for me, I just don't see the active, like really good reviews and the really good thorough applications, right? You really can't see somebody applying a product for however long it takes and see them not stop, not see any glitches, not know, oh, they walked away. And I'm not saying everybody who is on TikTok does that, and I'm not saying everybody isn't trustworthy, but I can be skeptical when it comes to my money, right? And as I've been talking, I've been applying this highlighter, right? But let's say I did a TikTok without the highlighter on, and I immediately just bammed like that. You don't know if I put a setting spray on under to make this highlighter look really, really bright. You don't know what I did to get it where it's at. Whereas in this video, you're literally seeing me apply it because I'm literally talking through this part of the video. And so for me, that's why I probably will never truly leave YouTube as a consumer. Who knows what is for the future when it comes to me as an actual influencer. But as a consumer, I think for me, YouTube wise, I'm always going to be here. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have too many like, overall thoughts. I just wanted to kind of sit down and talk to you guys about that evolution that I have seen. Now, I know a lot of people said that last year, or I guess this year, was like the year of the bronzer. I didn't really see it that way. I really saw it as certain brands were really just filling out their collections and their like overall option. Now, I cannot wait for the day that Pat McGrath releases her bronzers. Y'all know I'm going to be on that like white on rice. I cannot wait for that to happen. But I genuinely didn't see it as a bronzer year. I really saw it as a year that brands were pushing a lot of their older makeup, their older stock. And that's something else that I've always wanted to talk about, because like the idea of getting through makeup within the like expiration date, I feel like is a fallacy. I really do. And I say that because of the fact that there have been so many documented times where brands don't actually put things off of their shelves in their manufacturing to our hands, but like 6 months after it was already created. And so then you get this weird thing where like, yeah, you may have just got it, but it may already be expiring or expired when you physically get it in your hands. I know a lot of people complain about that happening with like Kosas, and that kind of makes sense for their brand because their brand is a natural based brand. So if you don't really get that product and use it, and even I think to an extent store it in the quote unquote right way, you're gonna get those effects. But like, what even happens if you do everything right and you still don't? Like, is it even worth it to put these expiration dates on these brands' makeup? Or is it just to satisfy the FDA? Which, I mean, I get it. Like, I'm not saying don't satisfy a federal agency. Like, be great. But like, to what extent should somebody really be feeling some type of way if they don't finish a product within the time? Like, there's literally a primer here that I primer and a setting spray that I picked up pretty much this time last year. And I've more or less been focusing on them. Granted, I do bring in makeup as well, so I don't focus on it exclusively. And I also do have a relatively big collection. But even with that focusing, I have not finished those products. I am getting there, but I haven't finished them. So like, to what extent should we really even be expecting ourselves to finish these products, right? When these brands keep pushing out different products and keep thinking about different ways to stay in relevance and to stay active on like people's minds and all of that, on top of staying on the trends. So as soon as a new trend comes, here comes a brand creating new products. Oh, people are doing this on TikTok, let's create this. People are doing that on YouTube, let's create this. So like, with also the trends of like these brands coming out with different products to be featured on these platforms, comes the idea of like, is it even okay or a thing that we should be doing to finish our products within a certain time frame? I don't know if it's something that is reasonable to expect, even for somebody who is not buying makeup all that much. I just don't know how realistic it is to say, oh yeah, you're gonna finish this in 6 months, even though it's been sitting on the shelf for 3 and you only wear makeup 3 times a week. Like, it's just so interesting. But anyways, that's all I have to say. I don't really have much else to talk about. I was just intrigued by a topic and I figured let's talk. I'm actually using the Odin's Eyes palettes, the holiday ones that they unfortunately don't seem to even be considering restocking, which I'm like, why not? I get it. They released this lip collection, but like, I don't know. I would have preferred them to restock this along with the lip collection. Like, I'm not saying don't release that lip collection, be great, but like, I don't know. I feel like they lost out on a lot of potential money by not restocking this collection. I really do. I think this collection is one of their best. And I think easily it could have sold out one more time. Easily. But who am I? I am just somebody. I'm just going to keep building this look. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I thought I was going to do a more green tone look, and then this purple or burgundy kind of just really took over. So there's that. There is still that green. Let me zoom in the crease, but I don't think you guys can really see it because I've really taken the time to blend her out. And I think the burgundy is really the main player now. But yeah, I would love to hear your opinions about anything that I've talked about today, whether it is the idea of like, you know, this makeup having its cycle and, you know, eventually everything is going to be redone to fit some form of current fashion trend or makeup trend or the current biggest social media. I would love to hear what you guys say about that. But I would also be interested to hear what you guys think about finishing makeup within its time period, and like whether you actively try to do that or if you do it and it just so happens, like if you're happy about it. I would just love to hear more from you all down below. And yeah, like I said, I'm just playing with both of these palettes, just getting more opinions, more thoughts. I pretty much know what I'm gonna say about this palette, but since it is so limited edition, I also just really want to make sure I solidify my thoughts in my time and not like rush it. My eye look is pretty much done. I just need to put on my liner, my mascara, and I'll probably throw on some lashes today. But I do want to throw on my lip I thought I put aside a lip product, but it doesn't seem I did. So what I'm going to do is just jump off camera. I'm going to finish up my makeup look, and then I'll round up this video with kind of my final thoughts and opinions on the two topics that I ended up talking about today. So yeah, for me, it's really interesting how the times and also the biggest social media can really help dictate what we see from these beauty brands. And then on top of that, of course, it's just astounding to me how, let's say a beauty brand wants to push out one product, but they realize that it's not going to be popular. They could actively make the choice to say, no, we're going to wait until the rotation comes around, and actively just have that stuff sitting around. As long as they don't showcase it to us, we truly never know unless you're that person that actually checks the batch numbers. And a lot of times I feel like some of those batch numbers, they don't even line up to what they're actually supposed to be. So I find it just very interesting overall, this whole idea of, you know, our voice really reflecting what we see. And then also, we never really know when the products that we see were created and even thought up and all of that. Now, we do know that it takes some time for a brand to think of an idea and to push it out, right? And most brands don't have the capital to really let their merchandise just sit there. But have you ever thought about like some of these releases that we see at TJ Maxx and they never made it to Sephora or to the brand's website? Like, what happened to that? Or even the stuff that go to QVC, are those things that they realized weren't going to make it in the main industry market, and then they decided to push it there? I'm just so fascinated with this topic and this ideology and stuff like that. So I would love to hear your takes on things. If you guys have some proof, definitely send me some links down below. When I have the time, I'll read them. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Like I said, everything that's on my face today I will have down below, so just check it out down there. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, go ahead and like it. Of course, I would love it if you guys subscribed and commented, and I will see you guys in my next video, which of course will be tomorrow. Bye guys.